we ought to do, even to the evildoers, and say, look, jump ship, okay? Nobody knows if it's too late for anybody. And just want God's will to be done, and then be man enough, woman enough to accept what that really means. And it means dramatic and profound changes, politically, socially, economically speaking, for the captives to be set free. But they are like predators, these people that are running the show. They're monsters, like demons. And you understand there is a certain nexus, a certain parallel to the artificial suffering that we're experiencing. Because these people are predators, and that's where this whole paradigm came from, the predator-prey paradigm. You know, because I still to this day find it very hard to believe that God gets some perverse kick out of watching a lion take down a gazelle. Okay, what? To satisfy his lust to eat? Because God made the animal to need to eat, right? So it's God's fault? No. You understand? I mean, it wouldn't be... Let's say there was plant-based sources that the lion could get satisfied from, and every other creature that eats meat, every omnivore out there, including humans. And I know how good bacon tastes. It tastes great. I don't hold it against anybody that loves bacon. I got a daughter that recently, she was pretty much raised semi-veg. I've never been vegetarian, but you know, just kind of fish for the most part. Look, birds, great. Chicken tastes fantastic. Okay. Beef tastes fantastic. Who hasn't enjoyed a good lamb chop, right? I was brought up on meat. And so I don't hold it against anybody that wants to eat meat. It's fine. It's not a moral issue. For me, it's very personal. I just don't want to make somebody else do my dirty work. And to me, you know, making somebody work at a slaughterhouse, if I'm unwilling to, is hypocritical. So that's really the basis for why I choose not to eat certain foods. But sometimes I'm still a hypocrite. Special events, Christmas or Thanksgiving, something like that, I would eat a bird and just rationalize to myself, well, it's a group effort. You know, this guy wants to kill it and they want to clean it. Because, you know, I can't, it's really pretty gory. I'm not really into the whole hunting thing, okay? But a fish, I could still, you know, hold my nose and do it, okay? I can buck up. That's why I still eat fish. But there's plenty of great protein sources, because really that's what we're talking about. You're after to satisfy you is protein. So eggs are a great source. Legumes are a great source. Grains, dairy, even a lot of vegetables are pretty high in protein, like spinach. Grains, right? So I don't know if I already said that. Seeds. I mean, there's a lot of different protein sources out there. And, you know, so it's really not that hard to supplant meat in your diet. But that's neither here nor there. I'm not trying to convince anybody to go meatless, okay? And I'm not meatless, so. But I'm getting off track here. But the point is to understand the predator and prey thing. That this is really what these people are tuned into, is that they're justifying it, saying, look, it's my instinct. Yes, I'm a predator, and yes, I got you now. I got you by the throat. I got a lot of people by the throat. And it's through the money. I'm controlling you. I'm in cahoots with the money printing class, like these top politicians, the same kind that bail out the criminals in the '08 bailout. Okay? And then they just spit in the face of the American people. They turn their back on the people they're supposed to be serving. They're traitors. So, you know, you've got to know that, you know, yes, while it's unnatural and invented human suffering, unnecessary human suffering, that I object to so vociferously, okay, you've got to see the power that it's actually these people have rationalized it to the point where they're saying, no, it's organic. It's just part of my constitution. I'm this kind of person. I'm superior. So they're elitist in their minds. They believe that they're better than others, and that's how they rationalize and justify being these predators. okay, stealing the wealth from the labor class. And I pointed out over and over how they've done this. I mean, if the Labor Department is going to be deliberately remiss in the pockets and lapdogs for the Federal Reserve Bank, and of course these top politicians are in collusion, obviously they're lapdogs and in the pockets of the money printing class, this Federal Reserve. Okay, you understand the powers that be are formidable, and that's why I'm scared. We're in a lot of trouble. And if the mind of the basic American, okay, is so corrupted and screwed up that they don't get how we're going to have to buck up, man. We're going to have to get really sober minded. We're going to have to really get serious here, okay, serious as a heart attack. And we're going to have to confront this thing because it's not going to change on its own, and be good, loyal, faithful servants of God and man, and go and confront these forces and demand justice. Demand that the worm turn, that this ship of fools turn around from imminent, certain destruction, okay, on this trajectory we've been on for so long of death and destruction. Do we really need another revolt? Do you need to create so many desperately poor people in America that we rise up against you? And they're going to blame, they're blaming people. And the people that profess capital to be capitalists, they're totally remiss at explaining this to all the socialist movement, all these proponents of socialism, all this socialist sympathy. They're being totally remiss. And to the point where I feel like they're being deliberately remiss. What is their ulterior motive? How are they being deceptive and intellectually dishonest? Because they're not explaining it. What belief systems, perverted belief systems, are they trying to protect? So they're like self-deceived. They're like delusional. You've got to explain and say, I get why you're turning socialist. I get it. Your perception is reality. You perceive capitalism to be the enemy, but it's been anything but capitalism. Explain this to people if you're a true capitalist. Okay? But you've got to define progress. We've got to define words. We've got this Babylon effect in full bloom. People don't know they don't understand. Everything's been so convoluted and confused on purpose so that it takes away our empowerment. Okay? We lack confidence. We're ill-informed. We're malinformed. And knowledge is power, but it's got to be accurate knowledge. And how few people really have that. And you got to get it, man. You got to understand, and you got to just attack this thing head on. And we've got to go for the jugular. They've had us by the throat. Well, we've got to say, no, we're going to get you by the metaphorical throat here. We're going to show you who the boss is, who the only legitimate government in America is. It's the constitutional government. It's we, not some of the people. No, it's we, all the people. We all have a stake, okay, in the success of America at large. And what is America? It consists of the over 300 million people here. Every single one of them has a say-so. Once your tax dollars go in the treasury, in the kitty, in the coffers, they belong as much to the homeless person on the street as they do to you. These people that aren't criminals, if they were criminals, they'd be safely ensconced behind bars at a cost of some $50,000 per year per inmate for rapists and murderers, child molesters. That's what you're willing to pay as a taxpayer. And then you say, no, it's okay. We justify all these people being desperate. They're just weak. Let them die. They're weak. It's just, yeah, we're going to have more and more of it. And yeah, we've got normalization of genocide, and just accept it. And yeah, you're bad if you don't want all the immigrants in the world to come here illegally, which is unfair. It's cutting in line. It's very un-American. And yeah, it cuts into, it diminishes the relevance of the workforce, minimum wage workers in particular, keeps them down from advancing. And yeah, it puts an artificial demand on stuff. And so that's why we've got to let all these native-born American citizens die out in the cold, because we got to make room. They're being displaced by these other desperate people coming from foreign lands. And that's okay. And we're not even going to talk about what's going on here. We're willing to do that, taxpayers. $50 billion a year goes into subsidizing housing for the poor that can't afford their housing costs. And we're going to justify this. And yeah, it's creating a voting bloc too, because these immigrants see, they see who's on their side. Yeah, yeah, and we're making a push for people that aren't documented residents. We're pushing that they should be able to vote. Absolutely, what not? They're living here. They're a sort of citizen, quasi citizen, right? So let them vote. You understand what they're training us to accept? This is horrible. It's killing me. I'm hurt. I'm hurt to the core. And I need people to understand that. These are very powerful entities we're up against. And the only force more powerful is God, is love. And we've got to talk some sense into all these people that are lost. We've got to do our just level best to reach people. Okay, my friends, listen, I'm going to go to some current events from this past week and try to speak quick on making comments and talking points about what's going on in our crazy world, because I got a lot written down here. My eyeballs aren't what they used to be. Coffee gets cold so quick this time of year. You know, some people will say that being in love is madness, a form of madness. It's been described as. But, you know, I get that. Being lovesick and all this stuff, it's a trip, man, because it can affect you literally physically, but affects every aspect of your life. But it's actually very good. To be in love is a very beautiful thing. And I would suggest that it's actually the contrary that's true. The opposite is that not being in love is the mental illness. That's the madness. So that's just my own take on that. You know, all these people that are calling Trump without a scintilla of evidence, he should sue them. He should just take one, and make an example and say, show me what basis you have for inferring that I am a racist. That's what I would do if I was Trump. Just pick anybody as a citizen, get an attorney, and have them sue him. Clear your name, say, I resent the implication. Don't you dare label me a racist. That's what I would do if I was him, and I hear these people all the time doing that. Oh, yeah, he's definitely a racist. Where? Show me. How? Qualify that statement. Elaborate. Expand on that. But he does need to explain this MAGA business, this, make America great. Okay, he's got to, I'm not saying America wasn't great at some periods in history. He's got to explain what he's talking about there. Okay, he really does. When exactly is it, what's in his mind? When was America great? And what made it great? What are those aspects of our American culture that made America great? Okay, to me, it was in 1965 when everybody that had any job could afford to be a middle-class homeowner. Okay, save for the Vietnam War, which was horrific beyond description. I'm not going to go into. So, yes, it'd be America in 1965 without the Vietnam War, a very dubious war. So, he needs to. He really does. He's been remiss at doing that. His supporters have been remiss too. So I'm getting on your case. I still have faith in Trump that he's a good guy. He's doing God's work. I really believe that. Look, if I'm wrong, I've got the right to be wrong. But, you got to trust somebody. And we're all subject to being deceived. So, that's my take on that. On racism, remember that what so many anthropologists will tell you, that we all originated from some area of Africa. So we're all African, okay? That's it. That's a fact. So that's what the science of this thing tells us. That's the genetics. So God, wants us to learn to get along, no matter what our color. I mean, it doesn't matter at all. If we're humans and we can interbreed, okay, we're equal. We are the same. We're the same race, the same species. And to infer that it's a strictly white thing is, ridiculous. And to just get obsessed with this racism.